Alright, now that the turning's out of the way, let's talk about the good book-to-screen adaptation from this year.
Then everything just blew up.
Color Out of Space is the directorial return of Richard Stanley, who's been out of the game for something like 20 years. It stars Nicolas Cage, Madeline Arthur, and Elliot Knight, and it's an adaptation of the Lovecraft short story The Color Out of Space. It tells the story of a small family on a farm in the Northeast whose life is horrifyingly altered when an alien meteorite crashes on their property. H.P. Lovecraft is a hard writer to adapt to the screen because so much of his content is based purely in the unknowable. When people talk about Lovecraftian horror, it's horror that is based in the realms of impossibility and in realms of the unimaginable. Things that can't be comprehended by the human brain, things that would break our minds in trying to comprehend. And a story like The Color Out of Space fits into that perfectly because it's a story about contact with an alien presence that is so incomprehensible that it doesn't even manifest as a tangible presence, but rather a reality-altering color. And for someone to try and adapt that to the screen, for someone to try and adapt that to the screen with Nicolas Cage in a starring role, there's no way that can work, right? Wrong. Not only did the studio who brought you Mandy do it, they did it really damn well. Richard Stanley's Color Out of Space is absolutely wild. It is one of the most adventurous filmmaking endeavors I've seen in a long time, and it is an absolute masterpiece of genre filmmaking. It works on just about every level, and it captures the very essence of Lovecraft's writing in every single element of its technical production. From the performances, to the visuals, to the score, everything about this movie oozes, and I do mean oozes, cosmic horror in the best possible way. So, let's dive the hell in. Before I start talking about anything else, I do want to take a moment to really praise the score of this film. The composer for this movie is Colin Stetson, the same man who did the score for Hereditary, and honestly, this guy is a god. His score is absolutely incredible for this entire film. Most of his compositions are created entirely with a trumpet, and he utilizes every single part of the instrument to create these weird, echoey, dissonant sounds. And that technique in this movie really helps build this majestic, alien sense of wrongness to the whole thing, as though we're beholding something that we are simply beneath. I would actually say that this is the best Lovecraft adaptation to date. It captures the hopelessness and the unknowability and the sheer smallness we feel as human beings in the vastness of the universe, all the while still crafting a very real human story at its center. Every single character is, at the very least, relatable and at most, extremely likable. The family feels very genuine, their dynamic feels very real, even as they start coming face to face with eldritch horrors and falling apart at the seams. Madeline Arthur as the gardener's daughter Lavinia was easily the standout for me. Her performance is very real and very human, and even when delivering some very strange dialogue, she manages to make it feel very natural and vulnerable. The same goes for the rest of the family, and yes, that does include Nick Cage. His performance in this movie is, while not at Mandy levels necessarily, really excellent when it's restrained, and even when he goes full Cage uncaged, it feels natural and it feels like it fits in the world of this film, because by that point, the characters are all losing their minds. Now, that's not to say you don't get any of the crazy Nick Cage stuff that we all know and love in this movie. You do, and it's amazing. From devolving back into his inexplicable accent from Vampire's Kiss, to screaming about milking alpacas, to furiously slamming tomatoes and peaches into a garbage can for a solid minute while yelling "slam dunk." It's all the Cage goodness you've come to love, it just feels very at home here. The visuals of this movie are beyond incredible. Not only is the shot composition Hereditary levels of perfect, but when shit starts to get really crazy, really reality-alteringly crazy toward the third act of the film, the warping visual effects and colors are incomparably strange and really sell the whole cosmic horror element. It's kind of the first time I've ever felt like I was really seeing the inner workings of Lovecraft on screen, minus the racism. And it really works. The body horror in this film is insane. I did not expect it to get as viscerally Thing-like as it did, and I do mean that in a good way. There is a glorious homage to the dog scene from The Thing in this movie, and it is horrifyingly beautiful to look at, especially considering it's mostly practical. There's another mutation toward the third act of the film that I will not spoil, but I will say it's absolutely fucked up in the best way, and I applaud the movie for going there. The organism, color, presence, whatever you want to call it, is portrayed excellently. It's impossible to imagine a color that exists outside the visible spectrum, so instead, Stanley chooses to use colors that we can see but are not naturally occurring at all. There are a lot of vibrant greens and pinks and purples, and they all mix together in this weird iridescent glow that permeates normal objects and makes them feel sinister and wrong. Several moments in the film show ordinary objects, something as simple as an ice cube, infused with this weird, shimmery glow that makes them feel threatening. And by the end, when you get a glimpse at the true horror behind all this insanity, it succeeds in making you feel so damn small and insignificant in the face of something ancient and incomprehensible. And that's pretty much what Lovecraft is all about. Guys, in the end, Richard Stanley did the impossible. The fact that this movie is about an alien entity that is purely unknowable and exists in a way that we can't comprehend means that it shouldn't work on film, and yet he found a way to make it work on film, and make it work in a visually stunning, adventurous way that's not quite like anything I've ever seen. I'm gonna say that The Color Out of Space is a must-see. Aside from some dodgy CGI here and there, it's a masterfully made film that ends up being far and above the best Lovecraft adaptation made to date. And I'm so thrilled to know that Richard Stanley has 2 more of these in the works, and I can't wait to see what he does with Dunwich Horror. I really hope this is the start of a new horror movement because I want more Lovecraft adaptations. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell notification if you want to know when I upload. There's a Patreon link down in the description if you want to be like any of these cool people right here and consider donating. I've got a lot of cool new rewards for you all to check out. Anything from early access to special videos to special gifts sent right to your door. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. Even $1 would help. Thank you so much for watching again, guys, and I'll see you all very soon.
Everything's gonna be A-okay.